Hello, welcome gents folks to another video for your Ligue predictions and betting tips for this game week. I hope you had a wonderful game week last week and you had some great results and you had some big winners. Alright, so for this week now we're going to head instead and we're going to start on a Friday and we're going to start with Uns versus Toulouse. Alright, so for Uns versus Toulouse here, Uns they've started the season really well and they've had some really wonderful results along the way, and I do believe that I should continue to have good results. As a result, I'm going to take them to win this one here on Friday. This coming Friday, that is. Uns to win. Both teams scoring, I'm going to say no. In terms of a combination bet, I'd say either team to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline, 1-0 in favor of Uns. In terms of a handicap system, I'll go ahead and I'll take Uns to win this one by a goal. Alright, so recapping predictions for Uns versus Toulouse. I'm expecting Uns to win, both teams not to score. In terms of a combination bet, I'd say either to win and both not to score. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm going to go with 2-0 in favor of Uns, and on the handicap system, I'm also taking Uns to win this one by a goal. Alright, so moving on to our next game, and our next game is PSG versus Troyes. So Paris Saint-Germain versus Troyes. As you know, this week is the Champions League and also Europa League and Conference League. So a number of these teams will be playing in Europe and they might have a bearing on the upcoming results for the game weeks on the weekend. Yeah. So predictions for PSG versus Troyes. I'm expecting PSG to take care of business here. In terms of both teams scoring, I'm going to say both teams to score, I'm going to say no. In terms of a combination bet, I would say either to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline for me for this one, I'm saying 3-0 in favor of Barcelona. Why did I say Barcelona? It's because I'm actually 3-0 in favor of PSG. Alright, so in terms of the handicap system, I'm going to take PSG to win this one here by a goal. Alright. So recapping predictions for PSG versus Troyes. I'm expecting PSG to win. Both teams to score, I'd say no. In terms of a combination bet, I'll go with either team to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline 3-0 in favor of PSG, I do believe, and on the handicap system, I'm going to take PSG to win by a goal. I'll also take PSG to win by 2 goals based on my scoreline, predicted scoreline as well. Alright, so those are my predictions for PSG versus Troyes, and now we're going to move on over to Racing Strasbourg versus Marseille. Strasbourg versus Marseille. And this game now, I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of combination, I go with either to win and both to score. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory here for the Marseille. Otherwise, it could be the other way around. Don't be surprised with these teams playing in Europe this week and all of that jazz. And so on the handicap system here, here's go with Marseille to win by a goal, but based on my predicted scoreline, sorry about that. Based on my predicted scoreline, I'm going to take a draw here on the three-way handicap system. So recapping predictions for Marseille versus Strasbourg, I'm expecting either team, a combination that I'm starting with here, either team to win and both to score. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm saying 2-1 in favor of Strasbourg, not Strasbourg, Marseille. And on the handicap system, I'll go with Marseille to win this one by a goal as well. I'm also expecting both teams to score. Alright, so those are my predictions for Strasbourg versus Marseille. And now on to our next game, which is Auxerre versus Ajaccio. Auxerre versus Ajaccio. This game now, I think is going to be an interesting matchup, and I'm going to take this one to be a draw. So I'm expecting both teams to score as well here. And in terms of a combination bet, if you want to take one, that is, I go with either team to win and both to score. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm going to say here we're going to have a 2-all draw. And on the handicap system, there's nothing really on the handicap system here, because if you were to take something on the handicap system, you have to take a +1. Alright, so for example here, if I take a +1 here, that means that the thing there would be starting the game a goal ahead. Ajaccio, that is, and so therefore with them scoring 2 in this game, that will put them 3 up, and that means that Auxerre is stuck in 2, so that means that Ajaccio would have won. So I'm going to take Ajaccio at +1. Alright, on the three-way handicap system, that is. Alright, so recapping predictions for Oxir versus Ayasia. I'm expecting a draw here. I'm expecting both teams to score as well. In terms of a combination bet, I go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline 2-all in favor of, well, 2-all in favor of none of them. This is 2-all, this is draw. Alright, on the handicap system, I'm going to take here Ayasia at +1. Alright, so moving on to our next game, and our next game is Brest versus Remis. And so Brest versus Remis here. Brest usually does well at home, and so therefore it won't be easy for Remis facing them at home. So it should be an interesting encounter, I do believe. I'm going to take both teams to score here. Remis, they don't score a lot, and so it's a little bit here and there, but I'm going to take both teams to score in terms of a combination. But I would say I'm going to take either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline for me here, I'm going to go with Remis to win this one 2-1. Even though Brest is a tough team to beat at home, I'm going to take Remis to win them here 2-1. Otherwise, it's the other way around, I do believe. Alright, in terms of a handicap system, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Brest at +1. Alright, Brest at +1, yeah. So, recapping predictions for Brest versus Remis. I'm expecting both teams to score in terms of a combination. I'd say either to win and both to score. In terms of scoreline, correct score that is, I'm going to take Remis to win this one 2-1. And the handicap system, I'm going to take Brest at +1. Alright, so those are my predictions for Brest versus Remis, and we're going to go to Monaco versus Angers. Alright, Monaco versus Angers. And for this game now, as I said to you earlier, we have teams playing in Europe this week, and so therefore Monaco is one of those teams, and so therefore this game against Angers should be an interesting one. Alright, expecting both teams to score. In terms of correct scoreline here, I'm going to go with this one ending 1-all. Otherwise, I think it's going to be about 2-1 for Monaco. If we should have another goal or two, I think it's going to be in favor of Monaco. In terms of the combinations, you could go with either team to win and under 3.5 goals for the game. In terms of the handicap system, I'm going to go here with +1 for Angers. Alright, so Angers +1. As I said, this would mean that Angers will start the game a goal ahead. And if the game indeed ends 1-all, then that means Angers would have won 2-1 on the handicap system. Alright, so recapping predictions for Monaco versus Angers. I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of a correct scoreline, I'm saying 1-all in favor of either team. 1-all, neither team, that is, I should say. 1-all for my correct scoreline. In terms of a combination bet, I'll go with either team to win and under 3.5 goals in total for this game. In terms of the handicap system, I'm going to take Angers at +1. Alright, so those are my predictions for Monaco versus Angers. Now we're going to move on to our next game. And our next game is Nantes versus Clermont. And Nantes is also another team that we're playing in Europe this week as well. Nantes versus Clermont. Right, Nantes versus Clermont. I'm expecting here Nantes to take care of business. Both teams score. I'm going to say no, both teams won't score. In terms of a combination, I'd say either team to win and both not to score. Correct scoreline for me, I'm going to take Nantes to win this one 2-0. In terms of the handicap system, I'll go ahead and I'll take Nantes to win this one by a goal. Alright, $3.75. That's wonderful. Alright, so recapping predictions for Nantes versus Clermont. I'm expecting Nantes to win, and expecting both teams not to score. In terms of a combination bet, I'd say either to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline 2-0 in favor of Nantes, and in terms of the handicap system, I'll go ahead and take Nantes to win this one by a goal as well. Alright, so moving on to our next game, and our next game is Rennes versus Montpellier. Alright, Rennes versus Montpellier here. I'm expecting this one to be an interesting matchup. Montpellier, they have been I don't know what to say. They had a really wonderful result early in the piece. I think they won a game, I think 7-1 or 7-0 or something like that. But since then they have been unpredictable. they've lost most of the games since then, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, and so as you can see here, based on the record, the last 5 they've lost 4 of the last 5, so that's very awful. Yeah, so as it relates to Rennes versus Montpellier, expecting both teams to score. In terms of a combination, I'd say either to win and both to score. Correct scoreline for me, I'm going to take here Rennes 3-1. In terms of the handicap system, I'm going to take Rennes to win this one by a goal as well. Getting $1.95 for that. So recapping predictions for Rennes versus Montpellier. I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of a correct score, in terms of a double, not double chance, in terms of a combination bet, I go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline 3-1 in favor of Rennes, and on the handicap system I'm going to take Rennes to win this one by a goal as well. Alright, so moving on to our next game, and our next game is Lorient versus Nice. Lorient versus Nice here, this should be an interesting game. I'm expecting a lot from Nice this season. Just to be frank with you, they have a really good squad, a really good set of players, and I'm expecting them to do wonderful things. Well, I don't know if wonderful things is the correct phrase, but expecting them to do well this season, that is. Alright, so heading to Lorient versus Nice. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to see Nice to win. And in terms, I'm going to say both teams to score as well. In terms of a combination bet, I go with either to win and both to score. In terms of my predicted scoreline here, I'm going to go with 2-1 in favor of Nice. On the handicap system, I'm going to go with a +1 for Lorient based on what my scoreline is. Alright, so recapping predictions for Lorient versus Nice, I'm expecting Nice to win. In terms of both teams scoring, I'm saying yes. In terms of a combination bet, I'll go with either to win and both to score. Correct scoreline 2-1 in favor of Nice, and on the handicap system, I'm going to go ahead with Lorient +1. Alright, based on my predicted scoreline. Alright, so here now, I'm going to move to the next game, and our next game is Lyon versus Lille, and this is the final game for this game week. So I hope that you've been taking notes and you've made note of all of my predictions and betting tips that I've given you so far. As usual, so whenever you're making your slips, ensure that you put 3 or 5 predictions per slip, no more than that. The more money you have, the less predictions you can put on a slip, and the less predictions you put on a slip, the higher the likelihood of you winning that bet. Alright, because it has less predictions to meet. Alright, so less criteria, so the shorter the list of things that it has to go through to get correct, then the stronger the possibility of you winning it. Alright, so anyways, let's get back into the video. Predictions for Lyon versus Lille. Sorry about that, expecting both teams to score. In terms of combination bet, I'd say either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline here now, gentle folks, I'm going to go here with Lille to take this one 2-1. Alright, and on the handicap system, I'm going to go here based on, also I could give you another combination bet. We could go with either team to win, and on the 4.5. In terms of another combination bet here, I have Lille. If you go ahead and take Lille to win by a goal based on my correct scoreline here, that would be see game ended in a draw, right? So therefore, if I were to take a bet here based on my correct scoreline on the handicap system and the 3-way system, that is, I have to take a draw here. Alright, so recapping predictions for my game here, Lyon versus Lille, I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of a combination bet, I'll say either to win and both to score. Correct scoreline 2-1 in favor of Lille. And in terms of a combination bet, another combination bet, that is, I go with either team to win and total goals in the game on the 4.5. Alright, in terms of the handicap system, I'm going to go with a draw here. Lille draw here based on my predicted scoreline. Alright, so those are my predictions for Lille versus Lyon. And I hope that you took your notes, as I said earlier. Thank you for watching. Happy betting this weekend. And I wish you all best of luck. Alright.
Gotta find a way to get some energy. Gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it. I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret in front of me. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis.